Hello, and thank you for joining me today on Loyal World Info. Another day of the globe spinning, another day of global news to digest. I offer a sane, rational voice in an insane, rational time. I will be your host, and let's get into today's topics. And the topics of the day for September 2nd, 2020. Vietnam celebrates Independence Day. Notable achievements during Vietnam's 75 years. China-backed Thai Canal may cause India conflict and Thai division. 60% of job seekers feel uncomfortable with online interviews. 2 foreigners arrested for breaking and advertising criminal behavior. Animal rights, angry over a dog looking like a tiger, and I am Taiwanese. Stay with me and let's get into this. Okay, our first article of the day comes from Vietnam News. Foreign leaders congratulate Vietnam on National Day. And so National Day is like July 4th in America for the Independence Day. And I do try to cover these when any country has its Independence Day. So if you're from somewhere that's not USA or Vietnam, feel free to share your Independence Day and what your country does during that day to celebrate. But with that aside, let's get into this. Banners and flags celebrating the streets of Hanoi on the occasion of the National Day, September 2nd. So Hanoi, as Vietnam celebrates its National Independence Day, leaders from around the world have sent messages as congratulations. Leaders of Laos, China, Cambodia, Cuba, Russia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, and Myanmar all have sent messages and letters to congratulate the Vietnamese Party and state leaders on the country's 75th anniversary of the National Day. Wow, notice there's no USA there. General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party Central Committee and President Bonash Bodash, Prime Minister through Soviet and Chairwoman of the National Assembly of the Lao Party, sent a message of congratulations to General Secretary. That's great. In the message, the Lao leaders warmly congratulated Vietnam on its great achievements in the process of national construction and protection over this past 75 years, saying these successes are some of sources of encouragement for Laos. They expressed their profound gratitude to the fraternal Vietnamese Party, state and people for their huge, valuable, and timely assistance in the revolutionary cause of the Lao people. So the Lao leaders affirmed that despite changes in the world and regional situations, the great relationship, special solidarity, and comprehensive cooperation between Lao and Vietnam will always be treasured and preserved, and flexity exists together, with the two nations becoming an invaluable common asset, a role of survival and development, and a decisive factor in the revolutionary for each country. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. But it goes on the same about the Chinese and the Thai and the Cambodian and so forth. But my question is, what do you do on your day? As for Lao, Lao has been doing a lot more business with China than Vietnam lately. But yes, today I do see flags all over, and I see people happy at the beaches and on the water. So, but let's move on to our second story. In our second story, we will talk about what Vietnam has accomplished over the past 75 years. Okay, moving on to notable achievements during Vietnam's 75 years. This September marks 75 years since the Vietnamese people under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam, overthrew 80 years of French colonial rule. President Ho Chi Minh declared independence for the Democratic Republic of Vietnam on September 2, 1945, and the country then recorded significant victories in its resistance wars against French and the American people. As for the political reforms, on January 6, 1946, the first election of the country's National Assembly was held. In combat zones throughout then South Vietnam, elections took place amid fierce circumstances and even bloodshed, as every Vietnamese citizen exercised their democratic right to vote. Do you know more people in Vietnam vote than in America? And same for Taiwan. Following the success of the election, the National Assembly, at its first session in March 2, 1946, elected a standing committee. The Democratic Republic of Vietnam was officially established, with the NA as the highest state power in the government, elected by the NA as the highest administrative body. Okay, so we're going to move on to what they did. In the economy, after the Declaration of Independence on September 2, 1945, the Provisional Revolutionary Government then held its first session. The primary task of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam was to eradicate starvation and illiteracy. A war economy had been developed since 1951, and the State Bank of Vietnam had been set up by the Vietnamese. Banknotes began circulating from June 10, 1951, making an important point in the distribution of goods, trades, and commercial agriculture. So I'm going to stop right here. Well, one more second. At the time, Vietnam was still a poor agricultural country, with 80% of its population and 70% of its workforce living in rural areas and subsisting on farming. Production was still not enough to meet the demand for food. By 1984, social economic sectors, state-owned enterprises, held the greatest proportion of the total social production of Vietnam. Now, what I want to point out before I move on is, first, think of America. You know, America has 13 colonies, then they had its war, then they made their independence thing, and then they did their Congress and their Senate, then they made their bills. And when George Bush was in office, when the Iraq war was going on, he tried to have Iraq set up a government, but many times it failed and it failed. Other countries, Afghanistan is the same way. They tried to have elections and that failed and so forth. So I will give kudos to Vietnam, not just for holding the election, but going through all these processes and succeeding. You know, just like a good movie or a good video game, a good government is hard to come about and create. Anything good is hard to come about and create. But more importantly, too, when was your money created in your country? When was it first issued? And what was it? I would like to know. As for social welfare in Vietnam, in 1945 to 1954, Vietnam's first policies on labor rights, employment, and social welfare for war individuals and relatives of war martyrs were issued. Since 1986, support policies for those who contributed to the country's revolution and social welfare policies for groups of vulnerable people have been fully implemented. The rate of social insurance is increasing. Unemployment cities fell from 4.5% in 2010 to 3% in 2020. Now, I do believe that, except then COVID hit, and I'm sure it's like 10 or 15% now. From 2001 to 2006, the country created more than 8 million jobs. And Vietnam not just creates jobs, but they export their workers. Like right now, they're opening up their international airports again to Japan and Korea to send workers to those two countries. So they do send workers all over the ASEAN nations. As for health, the health outcomes have improved tiresome with rising living standards. From 1993 to 2017, The infant mortality rate fell from 32% to 1,000 births to 16%. Wow, that's lower than the USA. Between 1990 and 2016, life expectancy rose from 70 to 76 years. That's nice. The highest in the region for countries with similar income level. Vietnam's universal health coverage index is at 73. I actually recall like in 2010, they were like in the 60s with their age. So that's really big improvement, according to Wiki, when I looked in 2010. So anyway, that's just a little, oh, here, let's go more for education. Illiteracy has been in decline since 1986, and about 2.5 million Vietnamese children are admitted to school each year. In 1986, there were 3 million children enrolled in child care centers and kindergartens, close to 12 million students in general schools, and more than 300,000 learners in vocational and professional schools and colleges. Vietnam's accomplishments over the years have been truly remarkable in terms of attendance completion and student achievement. And I do admit, it's kind of interesting traveling around Vietnam. You have some students who all can speak Vietnamese, sure, but then you got the ones that speak in Russian, Chinese, French, and English. So it's cool to see that. In America, sure, sometimes I see English and Spanish, but that's about it, and most can't even speak English well. So what about you? What has your country achieved since it was founded? And whether it's education, whether it's economy, or whatnot, please let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, our next article today comes from Thailand, and it's about China-backed Thai Canal potential for the next India-China conflict. Okay, so before I get into the story, you may or may not know about China's One Belt, One Road, how they're trying to do that, how they have naval ports all over many countries, even Antarctica, some in Europe. I think it was France that put one in. And then they have a lot along Africa ports now, and now they want to put this canal in Thailand and for the One Belt, One Road. But their goal is not just to claim the South China Sea, but eventually spread China communism to all these countries, and hopefully in the process squash India. So here we go. Washington on September 2nd, the long-awaited canal in southern Thailand, Kra Institute, is the latest in the China's attempt to encircle India with a series of alliances and naval bases, even as tensions continue between New Delhi and Beijing over the standoff in Ladakh, according to the report. The Thai Canal could be a crucial strategic asset for China, allowing its navy to quickly move ships between its newly constructed bases in the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean without diverting over 1,100 kilometers south to round the tip of Malaysia, Foreign Policy reported. The Chinese Navy is moving further west into the Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean, building an East African logistics base in Djibouti and conducting joint exercises with its region in Myanmar, Bangladesh, Iran, Pakistan, and Russia. The plethora of China-sponsored port infrastructure projects throughout the region only add to the impression of encirclement of India and has repurposed the gearing up for potential future confrontations with the China at sea, the article said. Well, yeah, they just don't want India. They want to be in control of everything in the ocean. Long controversial, the canal has now seemed to garner the widespread support among the Thailand political elite, with the parliamentary committee scheduled to deliver recommendations on the project this month. This is significant even as Thailand has strongly tilted towards China after the United States refused to acknowledge the government which was established by the military junta in 2014. So that, for your information, so Thailand has a king, so it's kind of like a monarchy rule. but America shot it down for whatever reason. Personally, I have Thailand friends. They all are pretty cool with their thing. Vietnam technically is a communist country, so they're similar, and America's cool with that too. But I don't know why America feels every country has to imitate them, and then they lose out. As for China, China is building this canal, sure, but guess what? They're gonna use their workers. They're gonna build on Thailand's land, and then they're gonna build Thailand. But then they're gonna say, "Oh, sorry, you can't pay your bill. Let's just take this canal from you. Now it's our property." Okay. So now the problem with this though is Thailand. This canal kind of runs through the center of Thailand or towards the bottom, but there are three or four major cities in South Thailand, and they are kind of against the monarchy rule. So they're saying with this canal built, it is quite possible will be the battle line between like north and south. Okay, with the north, yes, you guys want your monarchy rule and you love your China, and then you got the southern Thais who are all for, you know what, we want democracy and we don't want China. So this could spark a big Thai war on top of the Indian war. So see as here, as Thailand's territorial intent tied the canal project would see a change in Southeast Asia's political geography, a situation where Chinese would be a permanent security partner and cannot be easily kicked out. So yes, China wants in, but they'll never leave. So this is why you don't invite China into your country. They'll offer sweet, sweet prizes, but then they will never go home. Never go home. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this? If you're Thai or if you have Chinese building One Belt One Road projects in your country, how do you feel about it? And what do you think about them doing infrastructure in your country? Or them spreading your propaganda or taking your jobs? Please like, comment, and subscribe below. I really want to know. Okay. Our next article today comes from the Korean newspaper, but the issue is kind of worldwide. 60% of job seekers feel uncomfortable with video interviews. 6 out of 10 job seekers would feel uncomfortable being interviewed by video call or artificial intelligence assisted programs, a poll suggests. In the pool of 1,683 job seekers by job search portal Seram early this month, 57% said they feel uncomfortable with the virtual interviews of this kind. I never even heard of artificial software interviews. That would not even mean a real person. To me, that would feel strange. But a typical phone interview or video interview, no problem. I've done that for over a decade. Asked why, 59.5% of them said they do not know how to prepare for such interviews, while 40% said that they do not know how to present themselves on a screen. I call bullshit this. And 35% said that this is difficult to grasp and the nuisance of what the interviewer is asking. Some 32% were suspicious of assessment methods. Yet 62% of the respondents said video or AI interviews were okay in principle, along with 64% citing flexible of time and pace. Place. Only 13% of job seekers said that they have already experienced video interviews or AI assist interviews. Again, I don't even know what an AI interview is, but that would feel weird if I'm talking to a software program and not a person. But I have been working overseas many years, and every year I interview by Skype. So video calls are no problem. What I do think, considering this is from Korea, is remember Korea has a very like 25% top heavy old people. I think it's more the old people who cannot adapt with the technology. They want to go into a business, they want to sit down, share coffee, and do stuff, so they don't know how to handle Skype, I don't know, Zalo, Cow Talk. But the younger generation has grown up with social media in every app there is. So I don't see why the younger generation would feel any difficulty with video interviews. But what about yourself? Have you had both in-face interviews and online interviews or AI interviews? What do you prefer? And what ways do you feel comfortable or uncomfortable? Please leave your thoughts below and like, comment, or subscribe. Moving on to our next article today. This one takes place in Thailand as well. 2 foreigners arrested for taking selfie videos with marine animals. And so here's a picture of them right here. They don't look too happy. So 2 foreigners, long stayers in Koh Phangan Island, have been arrested after posting a video on Facebook of themselves toying with marine animals while diving in a protected area off the coast. In the video, the 2 were seen tickling marine life with a selfie stick and taking their photos with them. The clip went viral and drew criticism on social media and irritated the National Resources and Environmental Minister Sipe Archa. He instructed the Marine and Coastal Resources Department to find out who the 2 men were, what they were doing, and in the area and whether they had diving permits or not to dive there. Mr. Valenci also told Permanent Secretary Joshua Batasha to instruct the locals to take legal action against the 2 men. The sea is home to marine life and marine resources. In the sea, humans are like uninvited guests. They should not do anything to annoy them or cause damage to their habitat. The minister was quoted as saying, Sophan Thurgut, the Director General of the Marine and Coastal Resources, said the 2 men had been identified. One of them is Ata Oto, a diving instructor and the owner of a restaurant, the Pink Panther Scuba Club. Cool. The other is Francesco Samata, a chef at Ibaha Restaurant and the barbecue on Koh Phangan. He has a speedboat and often takes his customers out diving. Mr. Sophan said the 2 had been detained. That's great. They allegedly admitted taking the video in an area off the beach. That's good. He did not give the nationality of the 2 foreigners. However, Mr. Otto's websites are in Hungarian. Okay, so in the presence of the officials from the 4th Marine Coastal Resources, the police charged the 2 men with intruding in the area designated for environmental protections. This carries a maximum of 100,000 baht and a year in prison. The licenses of the diving instructors and other documents were being examined. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, but I want to just give up why I thought this was international news. You know, when you visit a country, it's your job to either research before you go or after you go the rules of the country. What rules you have to obey at home are not necessarily the ones you have to abroad. As an example, in Singapore, if you spit or throw gum on the sidewalk, you will be fined. Okay. I also had this other guy on Facebook this week. He was bragging here, oh, I got stopped after 4 times going to somebody's house to teach English. And he goes, first I spoke English, tried to play stupid to reduce the fine, and then I spoke Vietnamese and tried to get away with it. But this guy, again, he acknowledged he broke the law 4 times, and he was trying to brag about everything he did. And so that's kind of dissing the country that's giving you a job, it's giving you a home, and you should respect the laws where you go. So I'm all for these guys getting arrested, and I hope when you travel or wherever you go, you set a good example and show respect for the laws of the country you go in, because you do want people coming into your country to respect your laws. So anyway, leave your comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Do you think they should have been charged or not? And yeah, let's get into the next story. Hey, So let's get into this story. This one's a little interesting. Malaysian animal rights groups are angry at photos of a dog that looks like a tiger. It's okay. Here is the photo of the dog. Okay, I don't even know what kind of dog it is, but somebody did a good, well, perhaps did a good job at spray painting the dog. Okay, so Taipei animal lovers in Malaysia have lashed out at a recent series of the photo of a stray dog painted in black and orange to resemble a tiger making rounds on social media. The photos went viral after it was posted on Facebook by the Malaysian Animal Association. The animal rights groups asked for information regarding the whereabouts of the dog and attempted to track down those responsible. So again, here are some more pictures. There's that one. And we have these other three pictures that are smaller here. That one looks really cute, him sitting there. Okay. So let's keep on. To entice people to come forward, the group even offered a mystery reward for further details on the dog's location and possible owner. The photos sparked an outrage online as dyeing the fur of animals can be harmful. Most people don't know, but paint can be toxic and may result in fur loss. Really? I don't know. I see plenty of Asians with red hair, yellow hair, orange hair. They dye their hair all the time. My sister's a beautician. She dyes everybody's hair. Furthermore, in Korea, everybody has these little poodles, and they do like neon green, bright pink, and they dye all their puppies or dogs, cats, monkeys. So I don't believe this article. So many condemn the unethical actions and pointed out the sad expression of the dog. Well, the dog doesn't even look sad. Where does it look sad? While others said the realistic patterns painted on the animal indicated a mildly talented artist who should find a better use of his or her time. I actually agree with that. Yeah, if you have more information, then call this number right here. But what do you think? Do you think this was like I guess tagging or, spray painting something? Or do you think this was a joke? Or what's your opinion on animals and paints? I really would like to know. Please like, comment, and subscribe on this article. In our last article of the day, this one comes from Taipei. Myanmar, but Taipei. I am Taiwanese, says a speaker tells Taiwan Assembly, irking China. Taipei, the leaders of the Czech Republic Senate, declared himself a Taiwanese in a speech to Taiwan legislature on Tuesday, channeling the late U.S. President John F. Kennedy, who in 1963 famously called himself Berliner to express U.S. solidarity with the citizens of the besieged West Berlin in defiance of the Soviet Union. I am Taiwanese, Morris Voshi, who is leading an 89-member delegation to Taiwan for a 6-day visit that began Sunday, said in Mandarin Chinese to express his support for the self-ruled island, earning him the standing ovation lasting for nearly a minute. All right, so you know what? Why was this international news? Because, I like when somebody stands up for themselves or for their beliefs. There was an NBA coach who said he supported Hong Kong, and they cut the TV, and then they tried finding and firing him. You had a World of Warcraft Blizzard convention last year with this guy named Blitz Chung, who said something. I am from Hong Kong, free. I support the revolution of my time. And, America and every other country took a knee, and they did that. And so they try to suppress just to appease China. And then you got Americans now who are trying to put Black lives in baseball and on basketball, walking out when they're supposed to play. these stupid black people are burning down buildings, but we're supposed to support them? No. You know what? I totally like men, women who stand up for themselves and their communities, and they do what they can. They're not afraid of people exposing them or trying to knock them down. You cannot be knocked down by words. You only can be knocked down if you let people intimidate you. But their thoughts are meaningless. You are what is important. Never forget that. Let your actions show who you are and what you represent. Well, that will conclude today's Loyal World Info. Thank you for spending time with me today. Feel free to like, subscribe, or drop a comment below. Or if you are on the go, listen to my podcast with the link provided in the description. I am on Stitcher and the iPhone store. I will see you tomorrow and share New World info stories. And lastly, all my articles I talked about, all the links are in the description below.